gets tricky. I mean, SGMP and Bradenton both deal with that same thing, Nightfall, great track, great air. Then the daytime, sun's beating on it, and track's pretty gooey in these radial tire cars. Kind of brings into a bigger conversation. Current radial tire stuff. Are we too dependent on track and glue? And I'm sure you saw it on Sick Week, the moaning about slick tires not being welcome in a way, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and
not being catered to.
So that's a funny and slippery slope, right? When you think about Sick Week, because we tried that separate lane thing and whatnot, and running radials out of, let's say, the left lane and slicks out of the right lane. Well, we ran out of slick tire cars, and I still got 40 radial tire cars that need to run. So we've changed run orders. You look at the big picture and we have, let's say, AB slick goes out there and runs, or you run a bunch of D cars down early, and then you run AB slick. AB slick is a great opportunity to run behind D, right? D takes a lot of the glue with them. So it should give the slick tire cars the wheel speed they need to get down and produce good ETs, right? Then you bring an AB radio right behind them. Now your slick cars have already laid down a really nice layer of rubber down, and it gives some adhesion for the glue. It gives the radial tire cars a great surface to race on. So I think they're codependent, right? You do need some slick tire cars out there to lay some rubber.
They're dragging the track for us,
right? Exactly. Yeah. And it's kind of cool to watch those guys go down, and they're wiggling past the 330 and taking up a little bit more track room left to right as they're going down, and running over 200 miles an hour on that tire. So I don't hate slicks at all, man.
It's cool to see a wheelie bar on the street every now and then. It is. I don't care to see it at the drag strip for the most part, but when you see it on a street car, it's like, that's kind of cool.
Yep. I would, if you look at, a slick car versus a radial car. Let's say we were able to take Alex Taylor's car and put it on a set of 315s. How fast do you think she would go?
I bet she'd go 0.2 faster ET and the same mile an hour.
Yep.
That would be my guess.
Yep.
And I bet you it would get right down. With little adjustments.
And I think that thing would be just rock stable going down the track.
Yeah.
You've driven on both, right?
Yeah.
There's a huge difference in the feel, right? In your backside when you're going down the track. The slick just has that little sachet as you're going down there, and you're good to go. The radial, you feel like you're driving out on the highway. You feel like you're out on 75 just cruising. You can just basically lock in your elbow and
you have to.
I
mean, if that thing starts to get a little wiggly, you got to get out of it.
Yeah.
You're not driving a radial tire.
No.
People make that mistake far too often to try to drive a radial tire.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, I'd love to see that thing on a radial. Even like Morris, put that thing on a radial.
Yep.
Get rid of the tire shake.
Right.
Stop breaking the car because of tire shake.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe I'm biased.
Saw what you did there, man.
Maybe I'm a little biased, but I do, and I get it for Alex Taylor. She goes to a race week where the track prep is marginal.
Right.
Have different tune-ups.
Sure.
Have a different setup on the car.
Yep.
It'd probably be a lot easier. Them slick tires look heavy.
They do.
Freaking huge.
They look huge. They look heavy. And, again, how many more runs are you getting out of a 315 than you are out of a set of, 34, 14 Ws or whatever they're running on those cars, or 32 14 Ws.
Oh, my tires last forever.
Right.
I can't believe it how long they last on my deal. But I'm only going, 490s, 50s.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
it's a burnout. It's a launching it. Yeah.
Yep. And I think Dennis is smart enough to be able to figure out a converter and spring and shock package and chassis setup to get that radial to work. So
yeah,
I think that would really kind of turn some heads, especially if she was out there, competing in the iron class on a radial where everybody else is on a slick.
It'll be interesting. Nobody's hating on the slick tires, but if there's 40 of them, it's hard to do any catering to a slick tire, and only 10 of them are actually like fast.
Right.
The other ones are just like a guy that runs slick tires in like a 10 to 9 second car, which isn't crazy. You can get down a 9 second car or a 8 second car pretty easily on a radial track, I would say, in a slick tire. We're going to struggle with it here soon I'm bringing my radials to World Series of Pro Mod. I'm not putting a slick on the car for, the one race.
Right.
I know James, I saw he's doing it for little gangsters, but Jimmy was like, I'm just going to run my radials and air them down. See how that works.
And I always find somebody saying they're going to air their radial down funny, right? What happens when you air a radial down? It starts to cup, and there's less contact batch.
That was his opinion. I don't know if I'm gonna jump in on that. I'll probably just go to maybe 16, 17 ish, depending on the weight of your car. Some people run them pretty high.
Yeah,
it'd surprise people to know what a LaSalo or Jim run their radial tires at.
I'm gonna say it's probably well over 20.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It's goes against what you'd imagine so heavily. You're like, oh, you gotta air that thing way down, but it's like, no.
No, it's completely different than what you think it is. I think the amount of air they're probably using really helps with sidewall deflection and keeps the contact patch, especially because they're probably running a 12 or a 14-inch wheel on that car.
And you don't want to drive the tire into the ground and ball it up. You ruin reaction time. You ruin a ton of different things that people don't think about.
Yep.
And, some of the secrets to the tire, I guess you could say.
Oh, yeah. The tattletale is when they come off the end of the track and you see, sort of those little...
The zebra
print along the sidewall. And usually if you get about 3.5, we'll call them 3.5 zebras in there, you're probably right where you need to be as far as tire pressure goes.
And you're throwing some power at it, too.
And you're throwing some power at it. And you've got a 4-link that separates and works really well.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for tuning in to the Bogetti Clips YouTube channel. For the full podcast, check us out on Bogetti Studios YouTube and all your audio platforms. Also, hit that subscribe button to not miss out on any of the new Bogetti clips coming up.